It was midnight. Dark. So dark. Leo lay in his bed. His eyes were wide open. He couldn't sleep. Not in this old house. The house made noises, creaks, groans, whispers. He shivered. Was someone there? Or something? Sinsheim was a quiet town. Too quiet, Leo thought, especially at night. The houses were old, their windows like dark eyes. Grandpa had warned him about Sinsheim, about the nights. He mentioned a story, a local legend, the giggle thief. But he wouldn't say more. Too scary, he'd mumbled. Then Leo heard it. A sound from outside his window. It wasn't an owl, it wasn't a cat prowling in the dark, it was a giggle. Faint at first, then a little louder. But this giggle sounded wrong, distorted. A cold shiver ran down Leo's spine. He crept to the window. His hands trembled. He pulled the heavy curtain aside, just a tiny bit. The street below was empty, bathed in pale moonlight, but he felt it, that feeling, like eyes were watching him, cold, unseen eyes. The air grew colder. The giggling sound came again, closer this time, right below his window. It sounded almost playful, a little child's laugh, but twisted, unnatural. Leo felt a strange pull, a weird curiosity. His feet wanted to move towards the sound. No, don't go. He remembered Grandpa's voice, stern, serious. Never follow strange sounds at night in Sinsheim, Leo, especially if they sound like laughter. That's how gets you. But the giggling was so inviting. Leo was curious, too curious for his own good. This was a bad idea, a very bad idea. He slipped out of his room, down the creaky stairs, tiptoe, tiptoe. Each step was an agony of suspense. The old grandfather clock in the hall ticked loudly, tick-tock, tick-tock. It sounded like a countdown. Then he saw it, the front door. It was open, just a crack. He was sure he'd locked it, wasn't he? He pushed the door. It creaked open. The night air was cold and damp. The giggling danced ahead of him like a breadcrumb trail, leading him away from the house, towards the old abandoned playground, at the very edge of town, covered in a thick swirling mist. Oh no. The playground looked even creepier up close than it did in the daytime. Rust covered everything. The swings swayed gently, squeak, squeak, but there was no wind, not a breath of air. The merry-go-round turned slowly, all by itself, around and around. The giggling was everywhere now, coming from the swings, from the rusty slide, from the shadows. And then Leo saw it, the source of the sound, the monster. It wasn't what he expected. No fur, no fangs, no claws. It was made of toys. Broken, discarded toys, a doll's cracked porcelain head, a teddy bear's ripped arm, a tin soldier's dented leg, all stuck together. Its eyes were two glowing marbles, watching him. The monster held something in its mismatched hand, a small, shimmering orb. It glowed faintly. Inside, Leo could almost see a light, a tiny captured giggle, twisting, trying to escape. The monster let out its own laugh. It was a horrible sound, grating, scratching, like nails on a chalkboard, mixed with a broken music box. A truly awful, chilling sound. Its marble eyes fixed on Leo. It raised a hand, made of colourful building blocks. The blocks clicked. Another one. It rasped. Its voice was a chorus of stolen whispers, of twisted, unhappy chuckles. Leo felt a strange sensation, an urge to laugh. But it was a cold, empty feeling, not his own. The monster wanted his laugh. Leo tried to scream, but no sound came out, just a tiny, frightened squeak. Fear gripped him, tight, so tight. He felt a strange lightness in his chest, a sudden hollowness, his own happy laugh. Where did it go? Was it gone? Stolen already? He couldn't remember how to laugh. The feeling was just empty. The monster took a step closer. Its patchwork body creaked and clicked. Each movement was jerky, unnatural. The air around it smelled like old dust and decaying plastic. It wanted his giggle, all of it. His giggle. It stretched out its blocky hand, closer, and closer. Leo squeezed his eyes shut. This was it. Suddenly, he remembered something else, something Grandpa had said, in a hushed voice. "The giggle thief," he'd whispered, "fears only one thing. Genuine, heartfelt sadness." But how could Leo feel sad? He was terrified. His heart pounded like a wild drum. Scared, not sad. How could he be sad now? Then he thought of his little puppy, Buster. He'd lost Buster last year. A wave of real sadness washed over him, a sharp pang in his heart. Tears welled up in his eyes. He started to cry, big heaving sobs. The monster hissed. It recoiled from his tears. The glowing orb in its hand flickered. The stolen giggles trembled. Leo cried harder, thinking of Buster. The monster seemed to shrink. Its toy parts clattered. Was it disappearing or just waiting? Waiting for his tears next, the end.